my name is Elise and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how I did not qualify for Biden student loan forgiveness, even though I really wanted to, I had been watching that thing for about 6 months to a year, hoping that the announcement would come. The announcement took a really long time, but when it did come, I did not qualify. Simply because I was too high of an earner. And normally that's a great thing, being a high earner, but in this situation, it's caused me to not make the cut. And yeah, I had to deal with it. I actually had decided that I was going to pause my loan payments in July of 2022 in hopes that the announcement was gonna come in a few weeks. Turned out to be a few months, but I paused paying directly. I still saved the money and put it in a high yielding savings account. But in the meantime, I didn't want to give my money in case that it was going to be forgiven. There was no point. I could have pocketed the money. So I pocketed the money starting in July with only a few thousand left that I needed to pay off. But then in the fall, because that was the summer, in the fall, the announcement came that he was gonna forgive $10,000 worth of student loan, but you had to fall within a certain amount of annual income, and I did not make it. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer, but I was still successful, which is why I say still make goals in life, because without goals, you're not gonna go anywhere. But I had that high goal of hopefully making the cut, even though I didn't make the cut, but the program still benefited me. And that's what a lot of people don't talk about, because starting with the pandemic, March, I think it was April 2020, student loan, if you had federal student loans, you did not have to make any payments. It was deferred. And if you wanted to make the payments, you weren't paying interest. Starting from April of 2020 to December of 2022, I wasn't making any interest payments. So I pocketed those interest payments, which for me in my particular situation was to the tune of $400 a month. That equated to about $10,000. So I got $10,000 free because I wasn't paying that in interest. So in my opinion, I did not get $10,000, but I got the interest off, which actually amounted to $10,000. So I still won. And for the people who did not meet the criteria that are like me, if they took advantage of the kind of Hail Mary that we were thrown by the US government, you were able to pay off your loans or get to paying off your loans in a quicker amount of time. So I don't see the loss in the situation. And then I'm also happy for the people who did get the benefit, hopefully get the benefit, because it's been paused, because there have been lawsuits against it. And we'll find out, I believe in February next month, whether the Supreme Court is gonna let it pass or block it permanently. But I was glad that I was able to leverage the opportunity that was given to me. And what I think about it, my undergrad, of my student loans, 10,000 of it was for undergrad and 140,000 of it was from graduate school. So I think about it as if I got a free undergraduate degree, because I did have scholarships, but my last 2 years of undergrad, I was living my best life and I had to get some student loans. So now, looking back at it, I'm glad that I stayed the course. In 2020, there were opportunities. Even before 2020, some of my colleagues from graduate school, they were refinancing their loan and consolidating them. I decided not to do that. I was just going through my gut. I don't have a real reason for you. For some people it works, but for me, I was just like, I could see that I could pay them off individually. That's what I was gonna do. And I just kept the commitment to myself. And that's one thing about me, like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm just gonna keep the commitment. I don't care about the clutter from the left or the right, and it could make sense to you, but if it don't make sense to me, if I have already made sense with the decision that I made, I'm gonna stick with it. To my detriment or not, but so far it hasn't been that bad. So I did not consolidate. And there were opportunities to refinance your home. And I thought about refinancing it. My coworker actually refinanced his home. And I was like, we have different situations though. And for me, I felt like the commitment that I have with my home, it's not unbearable. Could it be better? Yes. But did I want to go through the process of talking to mortgage brokers and getting my credit checked and having to answer for this. I didn't want to do that. Well, my situation is good. When my situation is good, I'm not worried about anybody's situation or making it better. I'm happy with what I have. I tend to be content with my situation. Could it be better? Yes. But if it doesn't happen spontaneously, I'm not looking to make it better because I'm happy. So I'm glad I didn't refinance. I'm glad I didn't consolidate my loans because it ended up working out for me in the end. So yeah, keep your word to yourself because I just think that's important. If you said you're going to do something, it's about being able to trust yourself with what you say you're going to do for the betterment of you. And then that leads me to like how I felt. Did I feel sad in the beginning? Yes, but it didn't stay long because I'm like, I'm tripping. I can't feel bad for myself when this is going to help so many people. And I think that gets lost. I guess when you are trying to better yourself socioeconomically, it's very common for you to forget about people who aren't there yet, who are still trying to get where you are, but aren't there yet. And just because I'm at a situation where I'm a high earner, I don't forget the problems that people who are who are not high earners still have. And it is going to be a boon to so many people to not have to pay. I think the average payment for student loans is $200. That can go to your car, that can go to childcare, that can go to so many things. So I was just super happy. And the reason that I actually decided to start the YouTube channel was because there are several influencers, financial influencers that I'm aware of that when they talked about it, they were so against it and it confused me and I thought it was weird. How can you be against it? And they found every excuse as to why it's not going to work. One was about inflation. It's going to cause inflation. Inflation's already here. Can't get much worse. And it's just, it bothered my soul. And I was wanting to put out my opinion because they're entitled to theirs. But when I'm frustrated and when I get upset, I try to channel that into how can I make this be beneficial? Because it's not okay just to stay angry and then possibly do something wrong. So it's like, okay, I'm going to put my opinion out there. I aspire to influence people to, support helping other people. You can't just think about you in this life. And just in case someone is watching and they feel the same way, now they're going to be validated. Like, okay, I'm not crazy. I think student loan forgiveness is good for everybody. Because if you think about it, the US government has bailed out countless industries. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. The first one would be the banks. In 2008, we saved the banks. Second one, oil companies. I don't remember quite the year, but we saved them. As many oil spills that we have currently happening now and in the past, that's a lot of money to the tune of billions of dollars. We have saved them. 2020, we saved the airline industry. Despite them still laying people off, despite them not being able to get their stuff together to this day. What was it, Southwest? They lost $800 million in the holiday season because they couldn't get their stuff together. Yet you were bailed out by the government. But when people start talking about let's help student loan borrowers, they get all in a tizzy. But we help the people who employ them, yet we can't help the employers who are the fabric and the fiber of their business to help them become profitable. I think this morning, don't quote me, but one of the oil companies made profit in the amount of 35 billion with a B dollars. And people are struggling, but we can't help people with $10,000. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. So yeah, I'm still in support of it. I didn't benefit as much, but I'm just so happy and I'm praying to the Lord that it does pass and that the Supreme Court finds the lawsuits against it unjust because, people are not replaceable. We're finding out. And I just think that, we can find excuses to do things or we can find excuses to not do things. And I'm noticing a lot of people referencing those influencers again. They were always finding excuses and putting no's on it. And I'm like, well, why can't we find excuses to put yes on it? Dare to set up new infrastructure about how things can be. I think that's really important. So yeah, I did not get the whole shebang of student loans, but I'm still a supporter of it. And I hope once it does pass, God willing, and we see that it's helped people that we won't be as opposed to it and it won't be stigmatized. So yeah, drop down in the comments if you agree with me. Also, if you don't agree with me, I do not mind a differing opinion and we can debate all day long. So I want to hear from you. Like, do you agree student loan payment should not be a thing, or do you think that it should be a thing and that people are struggling and we could do that for each other and come to a consensus that it's better off for all of us? All right, thank you so much. Talk to you later.